Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast show. It is a Wednesday morning and it is so good to be in your company. And it's time for another edition of our Wednesday feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law. We call it So Now What? And we're joined once again by our expert lawyer and director at Legalese. And yes, the coolest lawyer out there, Eitan Stern. Good morning, sir. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
The question of the day is this. I have an animal in my home. So now what? So we'll be focusing on your legal rights and recourses in that kind of regard, in case your pet sues you, when it comes to owning an animal in your residence.
Listen, I wouldn't put anything past anything these days. Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened in America. Yeah. We're focusing on the South African legal system here when it comes to owning a pet.
Yeah, so, I mean, when someone hears the word pet, we automatically think about dog, cat, a mouse, etc., etc. What constitutes, or what's the legal definition of a pet?
Okay, so in the law, there actually isn't a legal definition of a pet. That's just a word we use. But that doesn't mean there are no laws around owning animals. There are plenty of them. We have the Animal Welfare Act. We have the Performing Animals Act, the Animal Disease Act. So there's lots of laws around owning animals. And there'll be laws around what animals you can own. And if you do own an animal, how you have to treat that animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we can see in that picture, these are the more subdued kinds of pets that some might own, except that feisty chicken that's trying to do harm to the...
Yeah,
is that a
mouse.
I'm scared of the rabbit, actually.
You're scared of the rabbit? It's
Just look at it. It looks like it's about to.
You know what you
charge
should
at
be
me.
scared of? Friends that own snakes as pets.
Yes.
And some of these can be venomous as well. So let's talk about the legalities around and the laws around owning a venomous pet.
Okay. So there are laws around it, but they're going to differ from province to province. So in South Africa, different provinces have different laws.
Okay.
In the Western Cape, as an example, you're not allowed to own what's a bearded dragon. They're like one of those lizard-type characters.
Yes.
And then there are laws around owning venomous animals, and they're going to differ per province. So for certain provinces, you will need a permit if you're going to if you want to own a venomous animal. But you should also ask yourself why you want to own that animal. They're probably going to be a little bit happier in their natural environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
than
I
in your
mean,
house.
oh my goodness. Oh wow. Just look at that.
Actually, tarantulas are meant to be quite nice to own. They live for up to 30 years.
When you say
Excuse me?
When you say nice to own, define nice.
Cuddly.
Oh, no. But speaking of, like, tarantulas and every other creepy crawly,
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people, you hear of them owning a lot of animals in their homes. I mean, is there like a limit to the number of animals you have? Or if not, what are the legal steps you need to take?
Great question. So there are legal limits. So the laws actually specify how many animals you're allowed in a certain size dwelling. So very roughly speaking, and again, you'll need to check the regulations depending on your house size, but in a flat or a duplex, you're allowed up to 2 dogs and 4 cats. In a larger house, you're allowed up to 4 dogs and 4 cats. And on a farm or agricultural kind of land, you're going to be allowed up to 6 dogs and 6 cats. So there definitely are laws around how many animals you own. If you've got an animal shelter, you need to get that registered. But if you really love pets, just make sure you're not packing them too close into
Yeah, exactly. It's for their welfare as well, right?
Yeah.
So a story broke on social media and then went on into mainstream headlines about a couple in Athlone that had a lion cub.
Oh, yes.
They smuggled a lion cub for a child's birthday party. And I mean, that's just,
I'm going to go as far as to say that's just really stupid.
You know, and then you post a picture of it on social media.
For everyone to see.
Okay, so it's stupid for a number of reasons. Lions are dangerous animals, and there are instances where even in lion kind of parks, you get what's meant to be a tame lion attacking someone. These are dangerous animals. They're not meant to be tamed. That's number one. Number two, is it illegal? It's most certainly illegal.
So there's no way that you can own a giraffe, a leopard, a cheetah, a lion.
There is if you've got a permit and you have a farm, like a game farm. Sort of thing. So you can get a permit for that sort of thing in very certain circumstances. But if you don't have, the circumstances are not going to be for a child's birthday party in Athlone. So you're not allowed to own wild animals, and if you do want to own wild animals, you have to get a permit for that, and that'll be given in very specific circumstances. For example, you know, a game farm.
Also, guys, I mean, the domesticated dog versus a lion that you're trying to turn domestic. That lion would be much happier doing lion things out there in the wild outdoors. Just don't do it. I know you got a lot of money. Just just don't.
Just don't. Watch The
There's
Lion
no
King.
point.
There we go. Watch The Lion King over and over. Learn the lyrics to The Lion King. That might keep you occupied for long enough.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, on SABC3, and it's so good to be in your company at the start of a brand new day. Eitan Stern from Legalese joins us to talk about pets. That's the topic of the day today, and we're talking about the legalities around owning certain kinds of pets, even the normal kinds of pets that you'd have at home. And you shed some light early on the fact that if you do own a venomous pet, like a spider or a scorpion or a snake, if they were to cause harm to your friend, they can sue you.
Yeah, you definitely could be liable. If you were negligent in how you kept the thing and it caused harm to someone, you could definitely be liable. And if someone died, you could go to jail for sure. I don't know if anyone has scorpions as pets. That I've never heard
You'd
of.
be surprised.
You'd be surprised, actually.
Exactly. I mean, we spoke about the legality surrounding owning a pet in your household. But one thing that I also want to know is what rights do we have to report on other people's pets? For example, if we see someone abusing their dog on the road, or you know that your neighbor is keeping her pets in under unfavorable conditions, how do we report it?
Okay, great question as well. So people have to take care of their pets. It's not a nice thing to do. If you've got a pet, the law says you have to.
Yeah.
And we respect what's called animal welfare in this country. So we don't have animal rights. Animals don't have rights like humans do, human rights. We have to, our duty as humans is to look after our animals. So if you are not looking after your animal, or if you see someone not looking after their animal, it can be a criminal offense. And if you see a criminal offense, it's kind of your duty. It's not, you should report that to the police or to the SPCA, and that person will hopefully go to jail. And it has happened before in South Africa. People have gone to jail for abuse of their animals. So if you see it happening, report it to the police, the SPCA, the PDSA. The PDSA is also a fantastic organization. There's lots of organizations for dogs, like Dog and Tears and Oscar's Ark, and they're great organizations out there which protect animals in people's homes. So definitely report it. It's a criminal offense. Those people go to jail.
I mean, it's basically just saying, like, if you don't have the patience or the kind of personality to look after them, just don't have a pet in the first place. The cruelty is unwarranted. Now, I've heard of stories of people that go on holiday and they find animals. So either a stray dog or maybe even a tortoise, and then they decide to take it home and make it their pet. Are you allowed to do that?
It's a very, very, very sensitive topic for me at the moment, because we actually found a little dog a couple of weeks ago, and we went through this exact same situation. So you see an animal in the road, you can't find it, it doesn't have an owner, it looks like it's homeless. And so the best thing to do is to take it to an animal welfare organization.
Like SPCA.
SPCA, PDSA, one of theirs, try find the owner. But then animals are property, essentially, in the eyes of the law. So it's no different to finding someone's cell phone in the ground or a jacket on the ground or something. You do your best to find its owner, and if you can't find the owner, well, the choice is that the animal...
Finders keepers?
To some extent, the choice is that if you put an animal into the SPCA and someone has to adopt it, that can't live in the SPCA. So, for example, the animal that we found, Larry, the option was it gets put down or we home it. So if you're sitting in a situation where you find an animal and you don't try find its owner, well, that's not so cool. But if you can't find the owner, better to give it a home. But with something like a tortoise or a wild animal, that's not the case in the slightest. You're not allowed to move tortoises. That's actually a criminal offense as well.
Really?
For sure. You're not allowed to move those fellas. Tortoises move very slow and cover very small bits of ground in their life. They get completely disorientated if they moved. Leave tortoises alone. Leave wild animals alone. If you find a dog, dogs are domesticated animals. They're not supposed to be out in the wild. Our little dog, Larry, wouldn't survive a day out there. Those need homes, but wild animals do not need homes. Their home is nature.
And of course, if you find a lion walking across the road, you're probably at the Kruger National Park, so leave the lion alone.
I wouldn't put it in the car. Unless it's Simba and it's singing and it's got Seth Rogen doing the voice and all of that.
Unless it's Simba singing in 3D.
Oh, man. I had a question to ask about what happens to the custody of a pet because you said they're regarded as assets. And now you're divorcing. Or
what happens?
Breaking up.
Yes.
Now what?
Okay, very real question. I've actually dealt with a case like this before early on in my career, divorce. Animals are an asset in a divorce. Someone has to decide who gets it. Some animals are very valuable and people really, the couple might really want them. So it's part of the negotiation. It's treated like any other asset. What's also really interesting is there are instances where people leave their entire estates to their animals to be held in a trust for the animal to be the benefit of that trust.
That's true.
So it happens. I'm actually thinking about kicking my girlfriend out of my will and leaving everything to Larry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thinking about it. Don't know if I'm going to quite do it, but thinking about it.
He's not loyal. He's not loyal.
But he is
You
a
haven't seen-
lawyer.
Oh, he is.
Eitan, thanks very much,
Really a
man.
pleasure.
Quite an interesting conversation. Hopefully it enlightened your perspective on this issue. If you're looking for more answers to unconventional sides and more conventional sides of the law, you can, of course, check them out at Lawyers of Legalese on social media and legalese.co.za. Thanks, Eitan.
Only a pleasure.